Welcome back. In this lecture, I will explain how to make an image slider. To make an image slider, first you need to download some images. So you know that you already have a project folder. So double click on the project folder, and within the project folder you need to make a images folder, and within this images folder you can copy all the downloaded images, and then I rename all the images as first.jpg, first.png, second.png, third.png, and then I have two jpg files, and I rename them as fourth.jpg and fifth.jpg. So these are my images. Now you need to go back to your home.html file, and within this home.html file, first you need to write down your html first. So I opened a div tag, and I gave them a id equals to container, and within this div tag I have written a image tag, and presently the image tag is pointing to the first image, right? So that is first.png. By default, first.png file must be there on a web page, and I have mentioned the height of all the images as 200 pixels, and the width is again 200 pixels. And then I opened a new section for next and previous button. The ID of the previous button, it would be previous, and the ID of the next button, it would be next. And then we need to write a code for next and previous button. Writing the code in a ready function. So first we need to write down an array, and this array is going to hold the name of all the images like first.png and second.png, then third.png, and then I have two jpg files. I will write fourth.jpeg, and then I would write fifth.jpeg. So this is all about my array, and then I need, let me write down here, then I need a variable to maintain the present or the current index position. So I would take where index equals to 0, and then I need to write down uh, a code for next and previous button. So I would say dollar, and here I would write button hash next dot click, and then I need to write down a function here. So whenever you click on the next button, this function will execute, and let me write down a click event for the previous button, then id is previous. So when you click on this function will execute. So now we are ready to write a code for next and previous button. So let me save my code first. So every time when I click on the next button, I will increment the value of index by 1. So this is how we can move within the array. So presently the value of index is 0, so we are pointing to the first.png. So when I click on the next button, I will increment the value of index by 1, so we will move to the second.png, and so on. And I need to take care that I should not go beyond the last index position, and the last index position is 4. Okay, so keeping this thing in mind, so I will write my if condition, and here I would write if index is not equals to, then my images dot length minus 1. Now you know that length is a property of array. So when I say my images dot length, I will get 5, right? And then I will say 5 minus 1. So that would be the last index position, right? And then I would write index plus plus. Once I got the next index position, I need to change the image source. So I would write image dot attribute, and then I'm going to change the source of my image. So you know that all the images are in a images folder, so I would write images slash, so I need to make a path, and then I would write my images of index. So my images is the name of my array, and index is the current index position. So by writing this images slash my images of index position, so I will get the exact path of my next image, right? Now let's write down the code for previous button. And you know that when we click on the previous button, we need to decrement by 1, and I cannot go before index position 0. So if index is not equals to 0, I can do decrement, right? And then I will copy the same code, same image code, and paste it here, and let me save my code. So it means if the index is not equals to 0, you can keep decrementing. And similarly, if the index is not reached at the end, you can keep incrementing, right? So that is the meaning of this code. So let's save it, and now open your web browser, refresh your home.html file. Now click on the next, you will get the next image, and keep clicking on the next. This is the last image. Now if you click on the next, nothing will happen because you have already reached at the end of the image slider. Now you can only go back, so keep clicking on the previous. This is the first image. Now you cannot go before the first image. This is the first image. So that is all about image slider.